10 scientists and defense contractors either missing or dead. A UFO congressional deadline hit yesterday, and the Pentagon, of course, went silent. And a new interview is surfacing CIA file numbers inside documents the government has called forgeries for over 40 years. Numbers that were not declassified until decades after those documents went public. 3 stories, 1 thread, running through all of them. Hey ufologers, I'm Cristina Gomez and welcome back to this episode of UFO News Updates. Let's start with the newest missing case. Government contractor Stephen Garcia, age 48. Journalist Lauren Conlin has been tracking every one of these cases, and she broke this one down on News Nation this week.
Stephen Garcia, he had a top security clearance at KCNSC.
Is that per a source, though? A source said that?
This is per a source.
Okay.
Yes, per a source that was close to Garcia. But look, where he worked at KCNSC, they manufacture 80% of non-nuclear components that go into building military nuclear weapons. And he oversaw tens of millions of dollars of assets, equipment, some classified, some not.
Garcia walked out of his Albuquerque home on August 28, 2025, carrying only a handgun. He left his phone, his car, his wallet, and his keys behind. A source close to the case told the Daily Mail he showed no signs of distress and that a foreign intelligence operation, quote, makes the most sense. He has not since been seen, and he is the 10th name on a list that has been growing steadily since mid-2023. 4 of these individuals disappeared from New Mexico on foot, leaving behind everything. 3 connect directly through the Kirtland Air Force Base, the Kansas City National Security Campus, and Los Alamos. Former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker said this week that U.S. scientists have been targeted by hostile foreign intelligence services for years, and that he believes some have been eliminated. However, no official agency has confirmed any connection between any of these cases, but the pattern is being discussed right now at the congressional level. It's pretty freaky, but now let's get on to Luna's update. Anna Paulina Luna's hard deadline for the 46 classified UAP videos from ARROW, the Alt-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, arrived April 14th. The Pentagon delivered, of course, nothing. Luna posted on X yesterday that no one at the Pentagon responded until her office made the first call, and that the letter apparently never reached the right people inside the building. The words used were, "how convenient." She was clear. The president has authorized the release, and whoever is obstructing inside the Pentagon can, quote, take a hike. That's a very nice way to phrase it. A source who spoke directly with Luna's staffer stated that some of those videos are now moving through the declassification process, and the deadline will likely be extended partially because of the Iran situation and partially because the Pentagon simply moves slowly. And of course, now it is officially tax season. But it is believed that the cooperation is there, just not at Luna's original timeline. Here is what we do know so far, though. The 46 videos are not vague requests. They are named. A UAP formation over Iran back in August of 2022, Syrian airspace instant acceleration 2021, spherical objects near a U.S. submarine, an Air Force National Guard F-16 shooting down a UAP over Lake Huron back in 2023. So, 10 people are gone. A deadline missed. And now we get to the part of today's show that ties it all together. At least some might think so. Because Ross Coulthart's new interview is pointing to evidence sitting just in plain sight inside the CIA's own declassified files, so stay with me. So Ross sat down with former intelligence official Jeff Cruikshank and researcher and attorney Jed Davis on News Nation's Reality Check. The subject was about MJ-12, the disputed document set the U.S. government has called a forgery since 1984. So we're not reiterating the whole story, but here's what we're covering that is new. Inside the MJ-12 documents is a CIA file known as 834021. Those documents were leaked in 1984. Davis went into the CIA FOIA portal and searched that number, said one file came back. 345 pages, every single page carrying the same number. And that file was declassified June 22nd, 2022, 38 years after the MJ-12 documents containing it went public. This is not a guess. You cannot guess a 7-digit internal CIA compartment number and have it land on a classified file nearly 4 decades before it was released.
What Jed has done here is used metadata from the Majestic documents and found reference to declassified official CIA documents that reference numbers that a person could not possibly guess, these 6 and 7-digit numbers and the nomenclature for scientific intelligence reports. And in both instances, they either refer to the Nazi paperclip scientists or the UFO subject itself.
The reason to why it's stated as impossible to guess a 7-digit code is because that would literally be 10 million different choices using numbers 0 through 9. The second code number is CIA Scientific Intelligence Designation CI/SI 28-55. That number only adopted by the CIA in 1951 and was not publicly declassified until the year 2000. It appears in the MJ-12 First Annual Report and documents from the 1980s that the government calls a forgery. Then in 2001, a declassified letter from Manhattan Project scientists was released through the CIA, 154 pages, with a sticky note on the cover reading CIA SI 2855 UFOs. The MJ-12 documents used that code 6 years before it became public knowledge. Now here is the part of the declassification record that has not been disputed at all. On September 23, 1947, just soon after Roswell, General Nathan Twining, head of the Air Materiel Command, put his official assessment in writing and sent it to American allies.
So on the 23rd of September, General Twining writes another memo. It's secret level, and he says in it specifically, well, the flying saucer phenomena is real and not fictitious or visionary. And that's that Air Materiel Command's official opinion of the flying saucer problem. That got distributed to all the allies, and we know this because Harry Turner, the Australian nuclear scientist, referenced that verbatim in his 1971 document that has come to light recently.
That is a U.S. Air Force general in 1947 telling Allied governments in official writing that flying saucers are real. And that statement was later referenced verbatim by Australian nuclear scientist Harry Turner in a 1971 document that has only recently surfaced publicly. That document is not MJ-12, and it is the verified declassification record, and it lands in the same window the MJ-12 documents describe. The most contested document in the MJ-12 set is the 1954 Coulthart Twining memo, found inside a National Archives box that was received by an anonymous tip directing the researchers up until this point. The government had used it for 40 years to call the entire MJ-12 collection fake, pointing to security classification language that didn't come into use until the Nixon administration. But Davis has a specific position on why that flaw is actually there.
I believe it was planted there by CIA and or OSI as a way to basically discredit the whole MJ subject preemptively, right? To make the whole thing radioactive so that it would just be, no one would take it seriously. And it's kind of been a brilliant thing in a way, because for the last 40 years, it's worked, right?
OSI is the Air Force Office of Special Intelligence, a really fancy way of just saying counterintelligence, and one document with deliberate errors placed it to invalidate everything around it.
It's impossible. I'm sorry, but at some point, people are just going to have to understand that these are real documents.
10 people with classified knowledge, missing or dead, a Pentagon that failed to forward a congressional letter, and CIA file numbers inside 1984 documents that matched classified records not released until 2022. Each of these stories on its own raise obviously very serious questions, but together they're pointing in the same direction. Or are they? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that's it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.